In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. I'm your host, 34, and tonight I have a very special guest. Mr. Nate Dawkins is in the building. How you doing, man?
What's up? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thank you once again for inviting me to this.
For sure, man. I mean, I'm just appreciating the fact that you're open to share your story. For the folks out there who don't know, this is the first time we're meeting, and it's always great to meet new people, man. So for everybody out there who is unfamiliar with the flow of the show, we do some intro questions, some warm-up questions just to set the tone. After that, we'll jump into the main portion where, you either choose your numbers between 1 and 34, or we could turn to the Wheel of Fate. It's up to you. And then after that, we have some closeout questions. Sound good to you, Nate?
Yep.
All right, man. Well, my very first question for you is, how have you been? You've been doing well. You've been doing great. It's crazy times right now, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know when it's not, but yeah. Tell me how you been, man.
You want an honest question?
Yeah. I mean, as much as you'd like to share,
Okay. So it's been up and it's been down. There's been highs and lows. The beautiful thing about my life is that I'm in like the rising action part right now, but like I'm coming from like, the character building, part of it, where it's like pretty rough.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, I know the feeling of being on that incline going up. But and I'm sure it never lasts, because life is always full of ups and downs. No matter how good you're feeling, it's gonna crash on you, and no matter how bad you're feeling, there's always gonna be brighter days too. But I'm glad to hear that you're on the up and up. Just continuing with the warm up. What would you like the folks out there to know about you?
Dang. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm somebody you have to meet before you hear about,
Interesting.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's what it is. Because there's a lot of like, stories about me, they're positive and all that, but it's just like, it's nothing like, when you meet somebody. And I feel like, a lot of, what's going on nowadays is like, you have to be valid before, you come into contact with somebody, like you have to be vetted, if that makes sense.
Interesting. You said you need to be validated first? Or what did you mean by that? Because I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, so I mean, in my case, like whenever I meet somebody new, like, either, somebody I know, or somebody I had just met, they're telling me about that person that I'm meeting, so it already like puts in like all right, this is what to expect, from that person. So you don't really have that like, that experience, of like, I guess sort of like jumping in the pool before you dip your toes in.
Yeah, like there's always like some kind of co-signment. It sounds like someone's gonna vouch for you, like, oh yeah, this is my homie. This is what he's about, and before you can even like get to know them as a stranger, right? I got you. My next question for you is, if someone were to pay you a tribute, how would you like to be honored? So if I was going to tell myself today I'm going to do something in honor of Nate, what kind of act could I do for you?
I like these questions.
Right on, man.
I like these questions. Honestly, give somebody compassion. Like, that's my tribute. Just wherever you meet somebody, to just like give them compassion. Is that clear? Is that too like obscure?
No, not at all. I mean, this is just for the folks out there who, eventually one day maybe you moved away and like all your homies just want to be like, yo, it's Nate's birthday, let's do something, just to send him some good vibes and showing compassion. It's vague enough where anyone can choose for themselves what that looks like, but it's still in honoring you. So how about for you? Like, what is your choice to choose? Like, if you're gonna show compassion, what do you like to do?
Ears. Like, a lot of people, they don't have like somebody to actually listen to them without giving advice after. somebody that just listens and just that's it, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe tells them, you know, how good they were doing, you know, something like that. Like everybody has to put their opinion in, you know, after you tell some, you know, vulnerable thing about you, you know.
Yeah. No, honestly, I have to fight that every time I have a guest come on sometimes, because, you know, in my mind, you know, I want to help and I want to just say something that can solve all the problems. But and that's the tricky thing about advice, right? It's always like, it could be just serving your ego sometimes, because like it's gonna make me feel good if it's like, yo, oh, you took my advice because I was right. You feel me? But it's not always the case. But yeah, nah. Well, you can tell me. You could stop me if you feel like I'm starting to give you advice. I don't feel bad about that at all.
Yeah, word.
And my last question for you in the warm up, man, is on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
I really feel like that's a I feel like that's a 5. And the reason why I say that is because I know what I can do and I know what I've done, you know. And I feel like if I know myself, I sort of know the trajectory of my life, and it makes it uninteresting to me. Yeah, so I know myself as in how far I've come, you know, but I leave, you know, what I can be, like, you know, up into the future.
I got you. Sorry about that. If you heard that ringtone, that was hitting me up. But yeah, man. I mean, if so, right now you're comfortable with not knowing your trajectory. Is that what you're saying, or being a 5?
I know. I'm realizing how that sounds now. All right, so
don't feel bad, man. It's all good. It don't sound bad.
Yeah. Okay, so I know my skills. There we go. You know, I know, you know, my flaws. You know, I feel like there's some flaws that I'm still learning about myself. But I know, you know, my skills, you know, my flaws, you know. I know how I view the world, but I also know, because of the way my mind works, that like it can change if I'm brought forth with, like, you know, more truth.
I got you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, because
go ahead. No. Finish what you said.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's just like I've been in a place so many times where it's just like, all right, this is me. And then I come across some groundbreaking information and I'm just like, oh man, like worldview change, you know? And I feel like what makes, you know, the human soul so beautiful is that your worldview can change all the time. So you like consistently, like, you know, growing and blossoming and blooming and wilting and blooming again, like over and over and over again. And that's what makes, you know, like everything so interesting, you know, and life so, like, you know, breathtaking.
For sure. Let me ask you, if you don't mind sharing, what's the last thing that you can remember that you kind of, you know, changed your opinion on because there was new information that kind of was brought to light and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I am wrong, or there's another way of thinking about this?
Despair. And what I mean by that is like, I was in a place of despair, you know, at a point in time, because like I was like everybody else, like, you know, I was worried about my financial stability, you know, and in one day, so many things like happened. You know, I had somebody that was offering me, you know, a full scholarship, you know, for my, you know, for a doctorate, an accelerated doctorate degree in psychology. I got access to like a whole swath load of, you know, potential clients, you know, and more, you know, ability to make money. In that same day, I had somebody validate something that I was struggling to understand. Like it's something like I felt in my gut, but because I didn't see it play out in the world yet, I wasn't open to accepting it yet. So I had all these three things, happen at once, and each thing is like big in its own way. But with all those, like, I realized that I was in a place of like in a sort of depression, and I couldn't see how many possibilities are in each and every second, and that's, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah. It's funny. Right before this interview, I was, scrolling through IG, and I came across this video of Jim Carrey. I don't know, maybe you've seen it. Maybe you've seen the statement before, but you think you feel like you know what I'm gonna say?
I do.
So yeah, he was talking about the, instead of saying depressed, we need to call it deep rest. And I was like, yo, man, I feel that, especially when he was talking about like it happens when even yourself gets tired of the character you want to be. And I was like, God damn, man. Like, I mean, I've been there before, and I know I'm going to be there again eventually. I think, just doing this podcast, and, I was at a point, man, like even now, like, I don't know if anyone's listening. And sometimes it's hard for me to think, like, should I keep doing it even though nobody's paying attention, which deep down inside, I know there's value in it, and it's valuable for me to keep going regardless of if anybody listens. But yeah, I think I was really getting tired of, trying to be that character I want to be. So it made me think about that, reflect on it, and made me go like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep going. But go ahead, it looks like you got something to say about it. Go for it.
That's real crazy, because as soon as I saw, I think a friend of mine, he was on your podcast, and his episode was going to air soon, and he was telling me about it, and I looked on, I'm just like, oh, this page looks official. You're famous now. And to hear you say that, it's just like, oh man, like he doesn't even know, like your podcast on, like, first seeing it, I'm just like, yo, this is so cool. The logo official. I listened to two of them. Your voice is mad calming. You're relaxed. I don't know if that's a part of the persona, but like you are very professional. I don't even want to say look, but you are professional. And I feel like, when you reached out to me, I was just like, no way. Like, am I famous now too? And it's just, and it's not necessarily because of, followers, even though you have mad followers, and, in my opinion, but it's more about like the quality, the mastery that, I see, just off of first, sight, when I saw your account, and I feel like, it's crazy that, you bring this up, because I feel like, there's a point in time where you get so used to working on yourself, and you get so used to upgrading your craft. All you can see is how you can do better, and then to the world, you're a master, and they think that you're a master because of the quality of work that you're putting out, and it's just, to hear you be transparent about that, like I just had to say, like, what you're doing is really amazing. I don't even want to put you in as like a content creator, but just as an individual, like there's real art, in the how, interpersonal, the questions you ask, the certain flow, of conversations, and how willing you are for things to, go in a certain route and stuff like that. Like, it's real, like, it's almost like you were born to just do this, even if it was just for that moment, if that makes sense.
Damn, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words. I mean, like, I haven't done it yet, but I definitely need to like edit it so I can have a collection of people giving me, flowers. I guess that saying, you gotta give people their flowers. Yeah man, because I need those reminders sometimes, and right there, you telling me that is gonna definitely keep me pushing for a few more months. You feel me? Just because, yeah. I mean, I truly think that, you know, this stuff is gonna be valuable down the line. Like, I don't think it's in the moment just because people don't know about it, you know, or people don't see it. But people like you who do see it, it gets me juice, because, like, you know, at least for the folks that I know I vibe with, they can see and understand what's happening, what I'm trying to do. And no, for sure, man. Like, as far as being famous and whatnot, I mean, for me, like, if I ever get there, you guys are all coming back on the show, you know, if it's on TV and whatnot. Cause
you famous now, bro. You famous now. I know you don't see it, but you famous now. You know that the thing is also, and I just want to add one more last thing, because I really want to let you get to your show. The Jim Carrey video, right? That one video really changed a whole lot of people's lives, right? When you think about how many videos you have, like in my despair stage, like in my stages of despair, you know what I always went to? I always went to videos like these, because I needed to hear people be transparent, no more like the acting, you know, but just people having real, honest, and genuine conversation, you know. And it's just like, I feel like we undervalue those genuine conversations, because for some reason we think it's not, you know, something that people are gonna gravitate to, or that because of the current viewpoints, because of the current views that it currently has, people aren't, you know, really receiving it, you know. But all it takes is, you know, like in my position, and this is sounding like advice right now, but I'm almost done. You good, man. Be yourself. So like that one person that changed my life in three huge ways in that one day, in that one conversation, you know. And it's just like it could just be one of your video, it could be like 3/4 of your videos, you know, it could be every single video. It's changing, like, you know, a lot of people's lives, you know. And the thing is, like, you don't see it, and so it's hard to like really understand your value in this sense, you know. And I feel like that is why, like, that is a huge, you know, like, you know, stumbling block, you know, for people that create real and true content like this, you know. And it's crazy how, like, people who create real and true content, they're unsure of how long they're gonna do it, because I guarantee you there's people that are watching it, they're just like, this can't end, it cannot end, you know, because I'm devouring, you know, each and every episode and stuff like that.
No, for sure, man. And, you know, I know I said a few months, but I'll be real with you, this is forever for me. You know, I spent a lot of my life trying to figure out what's right for me, like what fits, like who I am, my skills, like what I like, what comes natural, and this is it, man. Like my first dream was to be a rapper, but I'm not good with promoting myself, and I don't really think too highly of myself, so it's really hard to be in that industry if you don't believe in yourself. And then after that, it was a clothing brand, but I'm not business minded. I don't think about money that way, so that didn't work out. But these conversations, this is all that's really mattered to me in my whole life, and I'm just glad I can have it with folks like you and everybody else who's down to come on, just because it really fills my life with something positive, you know. It makes me feel like I'm giving a little bit back to the community too, in a certain way, you know, by having these conversations. So yeah, man, I mean, thank you for being a part of the journey. You know, each person that comes on, it just helps it like tremendously. I don't know if every guest feels that way, because sometimes I have guests who come on and like, I don't have anything interesting to say, I don't have it, you know, no advice or anything. Well, it's not about that, you know. It's more just about you being you, just so everybody else that knows you can watch this video and feel like, yo, I'm talking to that person right now, or, you know, I'm listening to the conversation. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening. That's it. That's it's an aha moment. Like, that's cool. Yeah.
For sure. Well, let's keep rolling, man. But thank you again. And you know, you don't know how much it helps, bro. But my last question before we jump into it is, what's your favorite thing about yourself?
Love, bro.
Personality wise, you know.
Personality wise, love, bro. Like Like, I love loving people. Like, it's really like that's my favorite. Like, sometimes like I I'm lost for words, but like loving people is like my favorite thing about myself because I don't try to do it. Like, it's just like, it's sort of just like something that just comes out of me, you know, like a spring. Like, it just keeps on like gushing forth, you know. And I've been in a lot of situations where like, you know, I was either taken advantage of, you know, manipulated, or even abused in certain cases. But like, I know that like it doesn't matter how many times that happens, like I keep on giving love, you know. And there's certain times where like I feel like I don't have love to give, but even though I feel like that, people are still receiving love from me, you know. And it's just like, you know, what we were talking about earlier. We really have no idea the impact that we have on people's lives, you know, our every, every waking second, you know. So that's the favorite, you know, that's my favorite thing about myself, that I don't have to try to be loving. You know, I notice like a lot of people, like, you know, they're trying to be loving, they're trying to be kind, you know. And it's just like, to me, it's just like, that's a red flag, because I'm just like, if it doesn't come naturally from that person, I can't feel safe around that person, you know. And I'm so glad that you keep on saying like, be yourself, you know, because that's something that, you know, I've been, you know, connecting with my whole life, you know, being exactly who I am, you know, because each time that, you know, we be ourselves, we're not like other people, you know. And I feel like it's confusing for other people sometimes, and, you know, because people are trying to, you know, understand who you are, you know. And I don't want to be, you know, like everybody else and say like, oh, everybody's trying to put you in a box. But I think people are just trying to understand what they see in front of them, you know. And, you know, when we let go of that and we just allow ourselves to, and that's way easier said than done. When we let go of that and we allow ourselves to, you know, perceive somebody in their like authentic self, like, you know, that's beautiful, you know. So my thing is love. Like, yeah.
For sure, man. And honestly, I think I could feel it in the first 20 minutes of the conversation. It radiates from you, bro. So, you know, keep being you, because the world needs more of it. Especially the like unapologetic love, you know, or unwavering. Because there's people, sometimes there's conditional love, you know. As long as you show me love, I'll show you love, versus, nah, it's all love all the time. Yeah.
But that's what real love is, not conditional. And I feel like that's the scariest thing for people. You know, I've been having this conversation over and over again. Like, real love is not conditional, because love gives without the thought of receiving. And that's what makes love so powerful. Like, love isn't trying to receive, you know, and that's what makes it so beautiful. You know, I feel like when we give, you know, love and like we expect something in return, it's really just like, I think we're expecting like acknowledgement or even respect, you know, but that doesn't necessarily like, you know, make it love, you know, because you be surprised how love change when somebody disrespects your love. And no love, it's not love anymore. Now it just turns into bitterness. It just turns into anger. And then you realize that, was that really love? Or, you know, was that something that I did out of kindness and I was hoping for reciprocation, you know?
Yeah, I got you. Now, for you to want to give out love, was this something that you feel like you've always been growing up as a kid, or was there like a switch that flipped, you know, throughout your life as you were growing up? You're like, oh well, no, I really need to, you know, give this love out, or was it just like unconditional from you from the start? And it's cool if you don't want to answer as well. Don't trip.
I want to be really transparent here. All right. I come from a place where I didn't have love. So, like, I think there was a point in my life where it was just like, I never want anybody else to feel like, like this, you know? And I feel like that's where it comes from. Because when I see like people with people without love, like it's just like I see myself all over again. And it's just like it's sort of just like maybe like this thing where it's just like you gotta end it. Like you gotta like, you know, take them out of it because you remember how dark it was there. And every single moment you just wanted somebody to literally save you from yourself, you know? And yeah, like I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure somebody saved me from myself, you know, and they said you can thank me by doing the same for others, you know. So yeah, so that's where like it was just like, yo, like, you know, I feel like that's where it really comes from, you know. It's more like you can't, you know, you can't let other people be where you were at before because you personally know how dark that was, you know.
Isn't that a trip? I mean, first off, thank you for sharing. I know stuff like that is heavy. It's not always easy to you know, speak on it. But so I thank you for opening up about that. It is interesting how we try to save ourselves through other people. You know, I think I that's something for me. I do the same. If I see somebody tearing themselves down or, you know, being, you know, like, oh, I hate myself or I'm not good enough. Similar feeling. I feel like I got to step in. I got to say something. I got to give advice, you know, because it hurts me to hear them talk about themselves like that way. Because, you know, we've all kind of told it to ourselves growing up. I know for me, that was my era of despair, you know, was pretty long. And it's funny because it could just been teenage angst because it was from like 12 years old to 18. But those were like dark times for me, man. I would say 90% of the time I cried myself to sleep, you know, during those times. And so now it's like, yeah, like if I ever see anybody kind of getting down, it's like I gotta try to save them because I guess I feel like, you know, in a way, you know, I'm trying to save myself, which is weird, but that's something I'm thinking about.
Yeah, that's some real shit. That's some real shit.
No, for sure, man, for sure. And yeah, well, man, we already got off to a great start in this conversation. That was only the warm up. So let's jump into the questions. Would you like to choose your own destiny or go to the wheel of fate? How you feeling?
Let's spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel. All right. So you said easy, number 26. Start off easy.
Yeah, let's do easy. Let's do easy. Yeah.
Okay. So if you were going to choose an animal to represent you in a show, like a cartoon animated show, what animal would you choose?
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. I know the animal already, but I know how it's gonna sound.
No judgments from me. I can't speak for my audience, but
I feel like it's gonna be a lemur. I feel like it's gonna be a lemur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any particular reason? Or?
They always, I think they move funny, you know, and they always watch in their environment. Like they always watch it, you know. So I think, you know, that's something that like is very representative of me. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm moving in a way that a lot of people don't understand, and I'm always watching my environment, you know.
I gotcha. Just a follow up. Is there any fictional character that you feel like you relate to the most?
Wolverine,
word. I know you see him back there. But
Oh, yeah, I see him now.
Right there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. He was my favorite superhero growing up, always. Even to this day. I know Black Panther came out and that was hard, but it's still Wolverine, you know. The reason why I feel, go ahead.
No, finish off.
So the reason why is because Wolverine has been through it all, but he keeps on healing. So people just like keep on putting him like on these crazy missions, like, you know, Professor X putting him to do the dirty work, you know, or those hard to do jobs. He's always getting hurt, but he always comes back and he's just like healed. But like inside, you know, and his past is consistently full of pain, you know, and he's somebody that people can always, you know, look to for safety, you know, but at the same time, like he has his own demons that he fights with that he can't heal from, you know, and I feel like, or that, you know, he's been, you know, spending forever healing from. And his love life is completely, every time this dude fall in love, like the girl like dies, he has to kill her, or she ends up trying to kill him, you know, and it's just like, oh man, this dude is never gonna have it. And like, you know, and I just feel like every time I saw it, I was just like, bro, like, I don't know why, but I just really like feel that.
For sure. No, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. You know, and the thing about him is that like he acts like he's a tough guy, which he is,
Yeah.
but he really does care, you know, like, you know, especially for the underdog, it seems like, because he's always kind of like saving them or, you know, being a mentor to them. Did you catch Logan?
Yes.
Dude.
Every single movie.
Yeah. That was my favorite. I mean, you know.
Oh, that was.
Oh, okay. You seem disappointed.
I can't be disappointed in that. That was such a beautiful film. But like for the nostalgic sense, Origins, because there was so much that happened in there. There was so much, you know, and it's like, for me, it's just like, I like the amount of content over how, you know, beautiful and deep that content is. And I definitely feel like Logan was more beautiful and deep, you know, than, you know, Origins. So
but Origins touched on a part of his life, like all different parts of his life. Yeah. I got you. And you know, it's funny, when I first watched Origins, I wasn't blown away by it, to be honest. So I need to rewatch it. Maybe there's more, like after I had seen it and I was, you know, younger back then, I was like, oh, you know, it's any other X-Men movie. But then, yeah, I think I need to rewatch it just to get this nostalgic feel.
There's so many people in it. You know, you got the Hellfire Club, like you got Rogue, like the budget was great.
For sure. I'm gonna give it a second watch, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's spin another number. I'm sorry you can't see. Would you like to choose a number? Because it feels kind of weird that you can't see the wheel when I try to do this.
All right. I like the wheel because it takes away the responsibility of choosing a number.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
I'll spin it for you, man. I'll spin it for you. Here we go. I'm gonna switch back and forth the scenes actually, so because they could only hear you.
Okay. We got. Okay, vibe check.
So, damn, man, this sucks so much, and I feel horrible because, you know, you were just talking about how professional I was, but
nah, it's still professional. It's still professional. We have great content right now.
Oh, so, absolutely, and I think you'll like this next part. It is called the vibe check, and you will hear me. It just sucks the audience, who, if you're watching or listening, you won't hear me, but all that matters is what you're gonna say. So
I'm definitely open-minded. I feel like people think I'm closed-minded, but I'm definitely open-minded. I feel like it's hard to be surface. I'm a deep person. Yeah, I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. I'm always positive. But if I'm around negative, nah, I'm still positive there too. Like, a lot of stuff has to happen for me to be negative. Like, a lot of stuff. So I definitely feel like I'll go with like in between mixed and positive. Are we all one or are we individual? I feel like we're individual. I feel like that's what it is, you know, and yeah, like I feel like we're individuals. We relate on a lot of things as individuals, but we're all individual. You know, we gravitate towards a lot of things as individuals, but I've just spent so much time with people and I see how individually different they are, certain aspects about them that are just like unforgettable to the rest. And also like, it just like, it kind of takes away the magic to meeting somebody new if we act like we're all the same. You know, I feel like because we have so many characteristics that are similar or near alike, or or near the same to other people, like we'll think that, you know, oh, like we're very similar, but like there are very, you know, specific differences in people. And I feel like, you know, that's what makes us more individuals than, you know, all the same.
For sure. You know, my normal answer to this is that there's just so many factors in our lives that is different for everybody. We may have similarities, but the fact that everything that you've been through, all the people you've ever met, and, you know, makes you the person who you are versus the same kind of experience for me makes me who I am. Like, I think we are individuals in that sense. I will say someone told me an answer recently that made me go, oh, that's pretty dope. And what he said was that we're individuals now, but we'll always come back to the whole. And I was like, bro, I am with that so hard. Yeah. And I was like, you're right. Once we're done with this, once we're done being individuals, we do go back to the whole, bro. So I was like, yeah.
That's fire. Nah, he answered both questions. He answered both. I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it was great. I had to snap my fingers for him for sure when he said that.
I'm gonna write that down.
No doubt, man. I think, I mean, the way it was put was so eloquent. I was like, damn. I hope I come across more people who kind of give me that answer, just so I can see that people are thinking in that way. But yeah. All right. While you writing it down, I'm gonna give you another spin.
All right. Uh, 30.
30. Easy, medium, or hard?
Hard.
Nice. I appreciate when people go to the deep end. So this one is when was the last time you forgave yourself?
Today. 3 hours ago, yeah.
Do you mind sharing the story? Or
of course. That would be lame if I did.
I'm just wondering, man.
Yeah.
No pressure,
I was just thinking of the exact moment and how to say it. But so basically, I do home restoration. That's what I do for a living right now. It's honestly to build up enough money, you know, to pay off my loans. But I love it at the same time. So, you know, I promised myself if I'm gonna do another job, you know, after I leave, you know, my previous job, it has to be a job that I love. You know, I can only work jobs that I love. But anyways, so I'm doing this job and like, I'm cleaning this person's refrigerator to a point where it's like it's new, like it's shiny, you know. And I'm just like, there's like a little spot down there, and it was just like he didn't really care that I was cleaning it so well. He just wanted it clean, you know. He was paying me a lot of money. Like today I made $260 off of that. Like it was like a 6-hour job, but like I was just like, bro, like, you know, if you slack off on this job, you gonna slack off on other jobs. And I was just like, bro, like, you've been working so hard today, and he doesn't care. Like, you have to understand that certain customers don't care, and that doesn't make you a terrible person for that, you know. And I just decided, like, you know, it's okay, you know, to leave that, you know, those it was like 3 or 4 spots, you know. And you know, I put everything in back together, because I usually take apart the fridge and just like clean every, like, you know, minute part of it and then put it back together. But yeah, and it really, like, by doing that, it allowed me to respect myself more, instead of like trying to like prove that, you know, prove that, like, you know, I'm always going to put out the same perfect work every single time, you know. And by doing that, it was just like great. And then I forgave myself again after that for not picking up food that my mom cooked for me, you know, at her house, because I'm just like, I don't want to drive. I just want to just lay in the tub and just put on the jacuzzi jets and just chill, you know. So that was, you know, I know that, like, what is it, 2 years ago, I would have went to church about that. 2 years ago, I would have went to church about that. I would have been like, God, I'm a liar. I said everything was clean and I missed those spots, you know. But like, that self-forgiveness, beautiful.
No, for sure, man. And yeah, you know, not trying to give too much advice, but you know, be easy on yourself sometimes, because I think for the most part we are hard on ourselves, like, all the time. Like in that case, you know, you're trying to convince yourself, like, the customer doesn't care, man, but you cared that,
Yeah.
you know, you wanted to give that service, that, you know, just provide, you know, your A game, even though it was you're having a tough time. You did mention God, so I do want to ask, do you consider yourself spiritual or religious at all?
That's an interesting question that you asked, because I'm at this point where, like, I was one of them kids that grew up in church, right? And I was just like, bro, like, I've been like, it comes to a point where you're a child and you're just like, I don't care about this. Like, I really don't, you know, and I can't wait for this to be over. And I think a part of me was just like, you know, my parents are strict, right? So I always have to pay attention. So I'm just like, I might as well just sit here and just like see what this dude is saying. And it actually made sense to me. And I'm just like, oh snap, like, this is actually pretty fire, you know. And, you know, I started looking into it myself. And the thing about, because it's Christianity, the thing about Christianity is, like, if you look at other Christians, you won't be a Christian anymore. Like, point blank period, you won't be a Christian anymore. You will be like, this ain't for me, this is fake. And the thing about it is just like, I had to leave church to really take what I believed in seriously, you know, because it was just like, I felt like church was a place of just like, you know, people telling you what to do, you know, and having a medium to do that, you know. And the questions that I was asking, like, you know, like, people just couldn't give me honest answers. They would just give me whatever, you know, they had read. And you knew that they wasn't believing. They was just saying it because they were supposed to believe it. And I was just like, this is what kills people that actually want to be in something, that and people that actually want to believe in it, they're not going to be able to like stay in it because they're going to see people who are not taking it seriously, and once I removed myself, like I realized that like there's so much stuff that I was mistaught, and it got to a point where I was just like, even like the English, Bible, like I couldn't trust it. So I went back to like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Like I went back to like, I started learning Hebrew and Koine Greek.
That's what's up, man. Not everybody does that.
Like you have people that are like, I have people that was coming at me. This is like, you really a Christian? And I'm just like, am I? Like, like it comes to a point where it's just like, you can't lie. Like you can't lie to yourself. I was raised around liars. Like, so I grew a necessity to find the truth in every single, and be honest with myself at all times. So Christianity was that thing where it's just like, you got like, it's really all about honesty, and finding out how love and honesty are, the relationship of love and honesty. That's Christianity to me. Christianity is a relationship of love and honesty. So I left church, and I feel like at this time I'm just like, I'm calling myself spiritual. I'm afraid to call myself a Christian because I know what's associated with Christian. You really like stand for like whatever I guess the Christian community is doing, and then now you're non-denominational Christian. Like you kind of lose your mind trying to like be the good guy, in a sense. And I was just like, forget titles. I'm not a Christian. I'm not religious. Like I'm like not none of these things. All I know is that I'm learning about God, and that's it. And whoever likes what I'm learning, like I'll teach them about it, because they're interested in it, or like if I see them struggling, in a certain area and they're looking for answers, if I learn something, in my reading, I'll share with them, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't, but like, that's me. I feel like, there's so many cases where like, if you're a Christian, like you should not be a certain, like I can really tell when people are really Christians or not, right? If I see you walking up to people and you trying to convert people, you're not a Christian. And that's gonna sound crazy. That's gonna sound like blasphemy. But to be honest with you, like when I was studying by myself, like I realized that Jesus had said a good religion is a religion that takes care of widows and the forgotten people of society. Poor people and widows, because those are people that are suffering. And I'm just like, so if this is somebody that's coming bringing the truth into the world, and he's talking about other religions, he always says like, I'm the way, the truth, and the light, this, that, and the third, and everybody loves to say that, but like, I pay attention to that, because I'm just like, if this man was always speaking truth, then that means that was truth too. And that means all these other religions, there has to be a value to them that my God understands, and that is not in my place, to come in and just be like, nah, like it's wrong, and it's just like, there we go with the honesty and love, with Christianity, with, I guess I'll call it Christianity, the honesty and love, and it's crazy that you asked that question, because yesterday I had met, one of my clients were Jews, and they had Hebrew like scriptures and stuff like that. And I'm just like, yo, like I'm learning Hebrew, like this is mad cool. And I'm talking to them about like how complex the language is and how completely different it is from English, and how there's so much culture and there's a greater depth to one sentence, right? Of, their scriptures, that when you translate it to English, like it's just a random sentence. And there's so much that we're missing, from like the way that it's translated. And I'm just like, what? Like there's a whole cultural barrier, and like it's just like, it literally changes it changes your entire understanding of, of what, Christianity is. And it's just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever studied. It's the most alleviating thing too, because I was taught to fear God, growing up in church, I was taught about sin and all that. And, for myself, that I realized what is it? God or Jesus said perfect love casts out fear. And I'm just like, how do you fear God if perfect love casts out fear? So I looked, to the scripture where it said, "You shall fear the Lord your God." And I went to the I think that was in Hebrew. That one was in Hebrew. No, that one was in Greek, actually. And when I, cross-reference fear, because the thing is, there's this thing called Strong's Concordance, and basically every time there's a specific word in the Bible, it puts a number, down, so you could find out where the same exact word is throughout the Bible, right?
Yeah,
so the word for fear, I found that, and it wasn't the same word that was used to describe, your relationship with God. It was actually a divine reverence, a reverence that belongs to a God. So you shall revere the Lord your God. And I was just like, what? That changes everything. That changes, and that's just one sentence. And so I'm going by sentence by sentence, learning this. And it's just every sentence is just it's mind blowing. And people are just like, "Oh, I've read the Bible." And I'm just like, bro, how do you do that? Because I'm going by sentence, and my life is dramatically changing each sentence. And some sentences I gotta go back on, because there's more things that was the other thing about the Bible is it's like Marvel movies, right? Something connects to something, connects to something, connects to something, and it's so complex. And you wouldn't really get this reading the English. And then the thing is, their letters are also numbers sometimes. And there's mathematics to it's just so crazy. And I'm just like, this is the most complex thing I've ever understood. So that's I don't even know what to describe that as, but that's what religion or something to describe that as, but that's just me pursuing something right now.
Oh yeah, man. It sounds like you on a journey. It sounds like it's a great one. I'm definitely gonna have to have you back on to give me the top 10 findings you find, the different, or not differences, but just little nuggets of wisdom that you're picking up. That would be great.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Because I grew up in a K through 8 Catholic private school, and at a certain point for me, it was just I'm only reading one version of the Bible, or I only know one version of the Bible. And that's the thing for me. It's I really want to know, whatever was written in Hebrew or Latin, just the text, that word, because I can't trust whoever, left this behind for me. I don't know why, but
yeah.
So,
I just want to add real quick. I started off in public school, but middle school, I was private school all the way to high school. So I definitely know what you're saying there. They don't like questions in private school. They don't.
Oh, no. And if you don't ask questions, they praise you for that. Oh, you're so,
yeah.
I didn't say obedient, but you're so faithful, or all that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, no, I got you. But just a heads up, man, we made it to the end of the podcast. Got some closeout questions for you. I hope you're having a good time. It's been a great time on my end. Sorry for the technical difficulties, though, man. I wish I was more prepared.
I had a great time, bro. I had a great time, man.
For sure. I hope it lived up to the hype.
It did. It did. It did, bro.
All right, man. Well, before we get to those final questions, there's something I like to do called the 34th mantra, where I have some fill in the blanks for you, and I just like you to fill them in. This first one is, I am blank.
Resilient.
I am resilient. Next one is, I can blank.
change.
I can change. It's a good one. And the last one is I will blank.
Grow.
I will grow. Can you say it for me? All three of them. I am blank.
Okay, so man, what was the first one?
Resilient.
I am resilient. I will change, and I can grow.
For sure, man.
Thank
now, if you ever need a reminder, you got the soundbite of yourself.
I'll write it down later because I don't want us to,
Don't worry. No worries, man. No worries. Whenever you hear this back, you'll remember. And then now we made it to the final stretch. This next question is from my previous guest. Shout out to Teresa. Her question for you is, what do you feel like, comparing yourself to other people, what do you feel like you spend more money and time on than other people?
Oh, therapy.
Word.
Therapy. I love therapy, bro. I spend so much time studying psychologists, listening to psychologists. I even contact, college students to ask if they could give me their Blackboard login so I could have access to JSTOR, so I could have access to, research journals, psychology research journals.
That's sick, man. That's sick. Therapy is getting mainstream now, but I think it's still underrated.
People don't know what it is. That's what it is. People don't know what, and they have bad therapists too.
I was gonna say that. Yeah. Go ahead.
4 out of one of my professors told me 4 out of 10 therapists are great therapists. The rest are terrible. They're either burnt out or they're in it for reasons that, are impure,
Maybe they like giving advice.
Yeah. And there's a difference between a counselor and a psychologist. Whenever you're looking for therapy, in my opinion, and this is because I went to school, I have 2 degrees, and I'm going to go for my, like I said, my doctorate in trauma therapy. I want to be a trauma therapist for children. I've worked in, the field before. I love it. But there's a clear difference between a psychologist and a counselor, all right? Social workers can be counselors, all right? Anybody with a master's degree in psychology who did their certifications can be a counselor. But a psychologist, they're usually, psychologists, they have their doctorate. And they also, what is it called? I feel like their learning is completely different is way more serious than, your average, therapist, and psychologists are, can be therapists too. But I just want to put that information out there, just to combat, the pop psychology that floats around on social media everywhere, and the misunderstandings of psychology through telehealth, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you bringing that perspective, man, because people need to hear it sometimes. I don't think, now that you mentioned it, maybe I never had real therapy. I've had counselors growing up. I was exposed to counseling as a kid. Something happened where they're like, we were going to send you to counseling. So I started there, and I really did enjoy my time because, it felt good to talk to somebody that wasn't one of my friends, that I didn't feel like was, they were an adult that wasn't judging me and wasn't going to tell all my friends what I just told them. So it was a good experience growing up. And then, now that I'm an adult, there was one time I signed up for BetterHelp, and I'm not bashing BetterHelp, but I think a lot has to do with finding the right therapist for you too, right? Like you can't just get anybody and then expect to get like this quality of care that you're looking for off, just one person and based on a questionnaire, So yeah, now that's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, I mean, since you studying that too, man, I think your findings in religion and your findings in psychology, that's a perfect podcast episode for the future. So we'll definitely get you on.
Sounds so good, man.
For sure. And this next question is, what question would you like to ask the next guest that comes on to 34 Questions?
What are you living for?
Ooh, all right. What are you living for? Always interesting to see who gets that question next. And then, man, my last question for you, the question that ties everything together. Couple generations from now, maybe your descendants are watching this video. What would you like to tell them?
The truth will never hurt you. Yeah.
For sure.
The truth will never hurt you. Yeah. All this stuff about like, oh, the truth hurts. Like, nah. The truth will never hurt you. I feel like if you give people parts of information, it could be hurtful because, their mind starts to go into all these different places. Their heart starts going to all these different places. But in my experience, every single time I've gotten the complete truth, surrounding a situation, it was just like a peace that transcends understanding, and and that's coming from somebody that studies psychology. So, when you go to you feel terrible, you go to the doctor's office and they put you through the X and like, oh, you broke this and it's affecting that, and that. Once we put this back together, this is going to happen, but then you'll be okay. You'll be healing for this much time. That's what a good therapist is like. That's what a good psychologist is like, and a psychologist will open you up to that world of truth. The things that I'm studying in religion will open you to that same thing. And it's like, once you have that understanding, once you have that knowing, once you have that truth, bro, it won't hurt, and that's the peace that, transcends like all understanding.
I got you. I'm going to have to chew on that a little bit because, I feel like I always say truth hurts, but now I'm really thinking like, okay, well, maybe a piece of the truth hurts. But if you know the whole story, then maybe it's more, you can understand it better. I'm gonna chew on that one, man. Any last things you'd like to add before we head out of here?
Yes, and it's just your setup for this podcast, like the question, there's a complexity to it. It's really professional. It's really creative. It's very different from other podcasts that I've seen. I've never seen a podcast like this. I've seen really good podcasts and stuff like that. That's not to say, that I haven't seen any good ones, but the whole makeup of this, the questions at the end, even the wheel spinning thing. I know you had your technical difficulties, but I was really blown away by the diversity of the questions, how fresh, everything, seemed and was, and how like hands-on, we really get, with ourselves, during these conversations. Like I can't even say it was a pleasure. Like this was an amazing experience. I can't wait to share this with everybody. Once it comes out, I can't wait to listen to this over and over again, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, bro, from all of my heart. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. And, thank you so much as well. Every guest has been great, but I feel like you brought a different level of, hype and, for me at least, this different kind of energy that I think in this moment is what I needed because, I was definitely, kind of second guessing myself a little bit and thinking about, coming across that Jim Carrey thing and then having you on right after. It just all worked out perfectly. And, something in the universe is bringing things together. So, it's happening. And, would love to have you back on. Who's your homie that you heard about this from?
Carl DeTrue.
Oh, I didn't know his real name. I just knew him by CJ. Nah, you cool. But nah, that's dope. I hope maybe you guys would like to come back on, as two guests come back on at the same time.
We gonna have to do that 2 hours.
It could be a special episode, man. It could be a special episode. We'll figure it out, because I know you got the stuff that you want to talk about as far as the psychology and religious stuff, and we could see what CJ wants to talk about too. I'll hit you guys up, get a group thread going on, and see if we can make that happen within the next couple months. But yeah, man, thank you again for stopping by. I want to thank the folks out there, if you're listening or watching on YouTube or checking it out, and getting to know somebody new. It's always a great time. And remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love, and we'll catch you guys next time on 34 Questions. Peace.
All right, yo.
For sure. And then from there it kind of fades out. But yeah, man, that was pretty much a show.